Welcome to our 2025 College Career Indicator presentation from the Accountability, Development, and Policy Analysis Unit here at the California Department of Education. I am Catherine Morrissey, and I will be co-presenting with Michael Ishimoto. For the 2025 dashboard, the California Department of Education is again releasing a series of on-demand sessions, which will be short, accessible videos which can be accessed at any time and will cover each of the state indicators in more detail, plus some other accountability information. Today's agenda includes where to find an overview of the California School Dashboard. Then we will cover all things College Career Indicator, or CCI, including what's new for 2025. Next, we will review a few frequently asked questions. And finally, how to go about contacting us with any and all of your dashboard questions. For an overview of the dashboard, the CDE has created the Dashboard 101 on-demand session. There, you will gain a clear overview of the dashboard, including detailed explanations of the state and local measures, performance levels, and general rules about the dashboard. You can find the link to the Dashboard 101 on-demand session in the note-taking guide. Now, I will take us through the details of the College Career Readiness Indicator, or CCI. So what is the College Career Indicator? The CCI measures how well districts and schools are preparing its graduates for college and career. It was designed to encourage high schools to provide all students with a rigorous and broad course of study that will lead to success after high school. The CCI tracks how schools and districts prepare students for college and career by looking at what students accomplish throughout their time in high school and recognizing that students pursue various options, whether completing a career technical education or CTE pathway, requirements for the University of California or California State University admission, or a course of studies specifically designed to meet the student's individual interests. The CCI contains both college and career measures. The career measures that the State Board of Education has approved for inclusion on the CCI are registered pre-apprenticeships, state and federal jobs programs, which are specific to those schools with Dashboard Alternative School Status, or DAS, transition classroom and work-based learning experiences, which are specific to students who earn the Alternative Pathway Diploma as outlined in California Education Code sections 51225.31 and 51225.32, career technical education, or CTE pathway, and leadership military science. The college measures that the State Board of Education has approved for inclusion on the CCI are the Smarter Balance Summative Assessments, Advanced Placement, or AP, the MET University of California or California State University requirements, International Baccalaureate, or IB, the State Seal of Biliteracy, and finally, college credit courses. Now let's check out what's new for the CCI for the 2025 dashboard. First is the expanded recognition of advanced placement, or AP courses. Starting this year, AP courses completed with a grade of C- or better will be included in the CCI and will demonstrate that a school or LEA has contributed to a student's readiness. This change strengthens the AP measure and also impacts the indicator for meeting University of California and California State University entrance requirements. More details regarding this change can be found in the note-taking guide. Our next update is a change in the transition classroom and work-based learning experience measure within the College Career Readiness Indicator. This measure is now available only to students who are awarded the Alternative Pathway Diploma as outlined in California Education Code sections 51225.31 and 51225.32. More information about this Alternative Pathway Diploma can be found in the note-taking guide. And finally, for the 2025 dashboard, the Regional Occupational Centers and Programs, or ROCP participation, is no longer a part of the state and federal jobs programs measure of the CCI. Again, for more details regarding these changes, please refer to the note-taking guide. The CCI contains 3 levels of preparedness: prepared, approaching prepared, and not prepared. The State Board has approved specific criteria that allow students to be placed in one of these levels based on their accomplishments during their time in high school. For additional information on the prepared and approaching prepared criteria measures in the CCI, you can access the 2 CCI flyers that are identified in the note-taking guide. One rule to keep in mind is that for a student to be prepared or approaching prepared by their school or LEA, the student must be a graduate. A graduate is a student who receives a regular high school diploma or a student who earns the alternative pathway diploma mentioned previously. Any student who is not a graduate is automatically placed in the not prepared level, regardless of what the student has completed during high school. Students included in the CCI are derived from students in the graduation rate indicator. You are encouraged to access the graduation rate on-demand session to learn about the calculations used to determine the graduation rate indicator. Therefore, all LEAs, schools, and student groups that have students in the 4-year graduation rate and prepared students in the 5-year graduation rate will receive a CCI on the dashboard. Now here's Michael to talk about how we calculate the CCI and how it will look on the dashboard.
Thank you. To calculate CCI status for the 2025 dashboard, a rate is determined using the numerator and denominator. The numerator is the number of students who graduated prepared, or the total number of students in the class of 2025 who graduated in 4 years and met the prepared criteria, plus total number of students in the class of 2024 who graduated in 5 years and met the prepared criteria. The denominator is the total number of students in the 2024-25 4-year graduation rate and prepared students in the 5-year graduation rate. More details on the calculations are provided to you in the note-taking and technical guide. A 5x5 table is used to determine the performance level or color for each state indicator. The top row of the table represents change from the prior year: declined significantly, declined, maintained, increased, and increased significantly. And the first column represents status in the current year, going from very high, high, medium, low, and very low. The intersection of status and change is used to determine the final performance level or color for an LEA school or student group. In this example, the intersection of a status level of high and change level of increase leads to a green performance color level. The specific CCI 5x5 table with cut scores for status and change can be found in the note-taking guide and the technical guide. Select LEA schools or student groups with small populations are more susceptible to large swings in results from year to year. To account for this, a 3x5 table is applied when the N size is less than 150 at the LEA school or student group levels. The top row of the table still represents change from the prior year. However, increased significantly and declined significantly are removed, leaving only 3 change levels: declined, maintained, and increased. The first column still represents status in the current year and remains unchanged from the 5x5 table, with status levels of very high, high, medium, low, and very low. The intersection of status level and change level is used to determine the final performance level or color for an LEA school or student group. In this example, the intersection of a status level of high and a change level of increased represents a green performance color level. Again, the specific CCI 3x5 table with cut scores can be found in the note-taking guide and the technical guide. A dashboard card graphic will be the first level of information available to schools and LEAs related to CCI on the dashboard. Each indicator card will have a colored banner across the top of the card, as well as the performance level or color in the form of a gauge and the color written out. In this example, the gauge is pointing to green. Below that, we see the reporting status for change and status. In this example, this LEA has a status of 55.9% prepared, which is an increase of 2.3 percentage points from the prior year. Finally, at the bottom of the card, the equity report shares the number of student groups in each performance level or color. In this example, there are 0 student groups in red, 3 in orange, 3 in yellow, 4 in green, and 2 in blue, with a link to view more details at the base of the card, which provides more specific student group information. A dashboard card will look different depending on the size of the denominator. If an LEA school or student group has a small denominator between 11 to 29 students in the current or prior year, then Only the CCI status and change is reported on the dashboard. The exception to this is the homeless, foster youth, and long-term English learner student groups at the LEA level, which only requires 15 or more students in the current and prior year to receive a performance color. For those student groups, a small denominator between 11 to 14 students in the current or prior year will only have the CCI status and change reported on the dashboard card. This dashboard card for the Asian student group displays no performance color with a grayed out gauge and a CCI status of 87.5% prepared. It also reports an increase of 40.1 percentage points from the prior year. The number of students, or N size, is 16. And a very small denominator, fewer than 11 students in the current or prior year, will have no data reported on the dashboard card to protect students' privacy. This dashboard card for the foster youth student group displays no performance color with a grayed out gauge, and no current or prior year data is reported. The number of students, or N size, is 2. Before the CCI is published, did you know that you can verify the measures in your CCI before these data are extracted out for use for the dashboard? Specifically, LEAs can validate the CCI data that are submitted prior to the close of the California Longitudinal Pupil Achievement Data System or CalPADS certification window by reviewing the following. CalPADS reports 3.19 and 3.20 for Career Technical Education or CTE pathway completers. CalPADS reports 3.10 and 3.11 for College Credit and Leadership Military Science, and finally reports 15.1 and 15.2 for the following measures: met UC CSU requirements, state seal of biliteracy, pre-apprenticeships, state or federal job program, and transition work-based experience and transition classroom-based work exploration. The note-taking guide contains a link to the 2024-25 handbook that details how you can access these CalPADS reports. Keep in mind that the remaining CCI measures are collected outside of CalPADS from test vendors. They are advanced placement exams collected from the College Board, IB exams that are collected from IB, and the Smarter Balanced Summative Assessments, which are collected from ETS. Additional reports provide deeper insights and allow you to explore the data in multiple ways with customized filters to focus on what's most relevant to your site or student groups. There are 2 reports specific to CCI, College Career Measure Report, and the UC CSU Requirements and CTE Pathway Completion Reports. Now back to Catherine to take us through our last section.
Thanks, Michael. Now let's cover some of the most frequently asked questions. These represent some of the most common questions we receive throughout the year that we thought would be helpful to review together. The first question is, how many years of data are used for the CCI? We use up to 5 years of data from grades 9 through 12. Therefore, if a student graduated in 4 years, then we use the last 4 years of data. If the student graduated in 5 years, then the last 5 years of data are used. The next question we get asked often is about Dashboard Alternative School Status, or DAS schools, and whether the DAS one-year graduation rate is used to calculate the CCI. Due to the U.S. Department of Education's denial of California's waiver to continue using modified methods for accountability, the DAS one-year graduation rate is no longer used for the CCI. Beginning with the 2022 dashboard, the combined 4- and 5-year graduation rate is now used for the graduation rate indicator, and therefore is also used as the denominator for the CCI for all schools, including DAS. Next, we get a lot of questions about how college credit is counted in the CCI. If the college course is offered within your course catalog and entered into CalPADS as a college credit course, then that would be included in the CCI. If a student takes a college course independently or on their own, and it's a course that is not offered or included in your course catalog or CalPADS, that would not count as a college credit course for the CCI. Finally, we have also seen a lot of questions about CTE pathways that simultaneously offer college credit. In order to be prepared on the CCI through the completion of a CTE pathway, an LEA or school must show that a student has completed both a pathway as well as met specific Smarter Balanced assessment criteria or take an additional college credit course. CTE college courses used to meet the CTE pathway criteria cannot also count for the college credit criteria of the CCI. This concludes our review for the CCI. If you need additional help, we've provided some resources in the note-taking guide, such as the California Department of Education's CCI webpage. This webpage will take you from A to Z on everything you need to know about this state indicator. It has links to flyers, cut scores, and anything else you might need. On this page, you'll also find a link to the 2025 technical guide, where there is a specific mini guide on the CCI. We also have a school dashboard additional reports webpage where districts and schools can find information on the CCI that is more specific than the data found in the dashboard. For example, you can find the number and percent of students who are included in each measure and under the prepared, approaching prepared, and not prepared levels. If you are interested in contacting us regarding any of the information we've covered about the California School Dashboard, we are just an email away. Our email address is dashboard@cde.ca.gov. We also invite you to follow us on X @CDE Dashboard. And that concludes this on-demand session for the California School Dashboard. Thanks for tuning in.